Okay, and here we are on a Saturday morning. Welcome everybody to TNT. Now, this is, I think, the first time on a Saturday morning that we haven't been at Dean and DeLuca.
I think so.
This is Nick, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
You were working last night?
Yes.
What time did you get to bed?
I got to bed at. Oh, I got to bed at 12:30.
Oh, that's not bad
Yeah.
because you work as a bartender during the
Yes.
week
Yes, I did.
at the family establishment.
Which is the Stoned Crab Pub located on Sayuan Road on the way to Naiharn. Well, I have to say this because everyone always asks where it is. You can look us up on Google Maps or just Google in general. The Stoned, like smoke a joint, Crab Pub.
I don't think it's any relation to that.
Yeah, we don't solicit that material, but
No,
the name
no.
was created long before the cannabis.
Now, I actually went down there yesterday. Good morning, everybody, by the way. And Nick will sort of say hello to you individually in a moment. And we do have an announcement coming up too. But I went down to the Stoned Crab Pub yesterday for lunch.
Mhm.
I had sausages and bangers and mash, I think they call it. And behind the Stoned Crab Pub, there's this most extraordinary sort of daybreak location. It's got a huge pool where you can dive into it. I mean,
Yes.
it's a sort of three-layered pool. It's got pickleball,
Yes.
which is sort of like tennis castrated. It's a bit sort of short,
Yeah.
so it's a small tennis court.
If it's ping pong on steroids and
Ping
tennis
pong
and
on
relapse.
Yes. When we say ping pong, when you say ping pong in Thailand, you sort of got to
Oh,
qualify.
sorry. Okay.
Table
Table
tennis
tennis.
on steroids. And and they've got a sort of a big open air drinking and eating location.
Mhm.
And they've also got some little stalls around the edge, which I think are sort of slowly being taken up.
Yes.
And that's been sold to an Australian person.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that I'd never seen anything like that in Rawai before, which has become a sort of, I would say, the second most popular hangout zone in Phuket. It used to be Patong, Patong. Everything about Phuket was Patong. And then you had these other sort of little resort
Kata,
towns,
Karon,
Kata
yeah.
Karon, Surin, and Bangtao, Kamala, of course, along the west coast. But during COVID, Rawai, right down the very south of Thailand, became its own little zone and got its own personality, a place that you need to visit when you're next down on the island. Also, should I mention that it's a really, well, it used to be the sort of place you'd go down there on a Friday or any evening during the week and you'd sit on the beach side. No, not
Oh,
Prom
okay.
Tap
Sorry.
Cape.
My bad.
That's just full of tourists. By the way, you can see a good sunset anywhere along Thailand's west coast, all the way from Ranong down to Trang. Is Trang on the... No, it's on the east coast. Oh, God, now I'm getting a bit confused. No, Trang is on the Andaman Sea. Anyway, I digress. But you'd go and sit on the beachside on these sort of... Well, they were just
Recliners.
Well, yeah, sort of. You're sitting on the ground, and it's
Yeah.
very chilled, and they walk across the road and they take your order. And it used to be great fish, but really it's matured a lot since then, and it's got a great bar scene, very chilled out. I think every second shop's a cannabis shop at the moment, but that'll sort of even itself out. And it's still got all the boats lined up. Anyway, just a really cool place to sort of go and hang out. But don't bother taking your car there at the moment because you just can't get parking. They obviously it'll take them a while to catch up with the sort of increased popularity, but it has become a very chilled place. Nick, tell us who's already joined us. Good morning, everybody.
Yes. So we have some usuals in the chat like Nong Wasao, Hans. I've seen you on some programs before, and Scott D. Hi, Scott D.
What somebody says that he's seen you on programs. Oh,
No,
on our
I've
programs.
seen them on the program
So
before.
people
Sorry.
are now comparing you to some other.
As well as Frank in Thailand.
Used to be compared to Elvis.
Yeah, Scott D has the first question of the day, asking, realizing that there's usually exceptions to the rule, if one were to ask how much does it require to retire in Thailand, etc., it's a sign that they don't have enough 9 times out of 10.
That's a really interesting comment. That yes, I get that. There are requirements and qualifications for retirement. Most countries have some sort of qualification, We'll just turn the sound up a little bit, by the way, if you were thinking we were a bit soft. But I would say that Thailand's qualifications, you have to have 800,000 baht in the bank when you apply for your visa. Now, I'm not meant to say this, but visa agents can sometimes help those people that don't have that qualification. And that's an arrangement between the visa agents and immigration. Now, whether that's right or wrong, a lot of people will be horrified, but that's the way the system works. Or you have to have a minimum of 65,000 baht per month coming in from an overseas money source. Drug cartels in Mexico or whatever it might be.
Whatever it is.
It's got to be 65,000 baht. So I think, Scott D, it's an interesting point that when people are continually asking, oh, how much is it and how do I get around it, maybe they don't have enough. But it's sort of up to the Thai government in a way, I suppose, to end up with a population that can support themselves, or a foreign population. There is a group of foreigners which sort of, I say they fall between the cracks. They may have come over to Thailand with a stash of money. A lot of them get scammed, sadly. A lot of them, gee, if I could link the emails that I've got about this story together, I'd be able to get from here, I'd be able to walk across them to the moon. That they meet somebody.
Are these foreigners and
foreigners? They meet somebody, they fall in love.
Of course, and I want to get her to my home country and get a citizenship so that way she can live with me over there.
But they might get connected. They buy a house or a property, and she takes the house.
She takes the house.
It just happens so often.
And then he meets the family, and he drops 25,000 baht on the family members because I think they like me, guys. I really do.
So I think the issue with this, Nick, is that you can spend 5 minutes on the internet and read these stories and to avoid falling into that same trap. But so many people say, oh, I had no idea that this would happen. I mean, really, you'd have to be just insane. But there are a whole lot of other reasons that people sort of fall between the cracks and they end up sort of stuck in Thailand. They're unable to go back to their home country. And they then sort of start to get into bad habits. It could be drinking, could be drugs. And they just sort of get old here. And it becomes very, very sad because there's just no welfare system for them. So the Thai government does try to make sure that people who are retiring here have got the means to be able to stay here. For example, just on private health insurance alone, that's a pretty big stab every year. If you're getting private health insurance, it's going to cost you between minimum around about 30,000 baht a year. It could be up to 100,000 baht or more once you start getting older, or you increase the quality of your insurance. My private health insurance costs me about 50,000 baht a year. So it's a fair whack of money to be paying all at once. And my broker did remind me at the start of the week that I have to pay this year's insurance.
For what you're getting, though, these hospitals are extremely nice. The private hospitals here.
Sure. I mean, if you end up in Bangkok
they
hospital...
look like hotels.
Bumrungrad is like a luxury hotel. Yeah. You walk into the foyer and
there's a piano and there's
and chandeliers and sort of hot and cold running water. It's it is absolutely luxurious. Even at the Bangkok hospitals, you can go into a private room and timber paneling, and there's a bed for somebody to come and stay with you, and a little kitchenette.
It's beautiful, really.
Yeah. So the quality of the healthcare in Thailand, in many regards, I know there's stories, there's horror stories in hospitals anywhere in the world, but generally I rate the Thai medical system. There's a private sector. The public sector is also very good. Most of the time, if I've just got a cold or something, not like now, I usually would go to a public hospital rather than a private hospital because, one, it's cheaper, and I find the service very, very good. I've never had any complaints of my treatment or the treatment of people I've taken to a public hospital in Thailand. Now, there will be people out there who would say, oh, I'd never go to a public hospital in Thailand because they're
called meat lockers.
They're not like some of the better hospitals in in Western countries, but generally, I think they're very, very good. I'm sure that will spark some conversation. Also, we've got an announcement coming up in about 5 minutes. Who else have we got online?
GL, Pete Manchester, Durian. I've seen Durian before on other programs.
Antoine.
And KJ. I was going to mention something. Did you know that Bumrungrad is one of the most visited hospitals in the world for transgender surgeries?
Well, that's interesting. I think there are quite a few doctors who have got expertise in this particular and those procedures. Bumrungrad, and there's a few other hospitals specifically for gender reassignment surgery, but they do have some very fine doctors in that regard. Cosmetic surgery generally, because Nick, they've now got him now looking just like Elvis.
It's
amazing.
Insane what they can do.
I'm actually a 23-year-old woman, but wow, I look so much better now. Antoine says, Tim, that I've got to do something about increasing the size of the font. Can I increase the size of the font somehow? Temperature, brightness? No, there's nothing I can do there. Oh dear, don't press cancel.
Yeah, don't do that.
Antoine says, Tim, the Russians in Thailand who escaped the draft into the military in Russia now risk losing all their assets in Russia. What is your view on this? Thank you, Antoine. Good question. Look, there is no doubt that we have a lot of Russians coming to Thailand at the moment, by far the most populous nationality coming to the land of smiles. Now, this started back in October. I think it was on September the 23rd, I might have that date wrong, that the President Vladimir Putin in Russia decided to conscript a lot of young Russian people into the army to continue the war in Ukraine. Now, there was, straight after that, we started to see a lot of Russian tourists. It also coincided, of course, with Thailand reopening its borders and all the restrictions removed. But now we've had a situation where those people would get a 45-day visa exemption stamp in their passport when they arrive. And in Phuket, for example, there are 3 times the number of Russian people arriving every day compared to the second most populous nationality coming into Thailand, who are Indian people. And it's almost 10 times the number of the 3rd, 4th and 5th number of people coming into Thailand, which are, from memory, Australians, UK and Kazakhstan, of all places.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So, I mean, there's a lot of Russian people coming here, but they're not all draft dodgers, as you might like to call them. Most of the Russian people I'm seeing are families, mum, dad and the kids. Yes, there's obviously a segment of young Russian men who may have done their best to try and avoid being drafted. The fact that they may lose their assets or whatever when they go back to Russia, I don't have a comment on that because I don't know much about that story. But a lot of these people are now trying to stay in Thailand. So the immigration officers around Thailand are absolutely packed to the gunnels with Russian people who are trying to convert their tourism, well, their visa exemption into a long-term visa. And that can be the Thailand Elite program, which gives you 5, 10 or 20-year visas, and there's qualifications for that. But a lot of these Russian people coming seem to have plenty of money. And of course, the Thai people are welcoming them because they're spending money and they're renting villas and they're going to the expensive restaurants. There's no doubt that they're spending plenty of money. Their ability to stay here long-term, Antoine, I think is going to be long-term a problem. It's a problem for immigration. They are checking the visa qualifications of these people, not just the not just the Chinese. I am going to have a drink. On you go.
Okay.
Do you want to make any comment on that? You don't have to.
I don't really have any comments to say because what I would say is I agree with you. And not everyone who's come here are draft dodgers, and most of them I have seen at least are family members. Just yesterday, I had a mother and child come visit the bar. JM asks, "Hi Tim, great show. Any advice on Aussie pensioners wishing to reside in Thailand, where Aussie government will continue to pay their Aussie pensions. Thailand is slowly becoming expensive to live.
Okay. Sit down, everybody, because this is going to take, well, I'll try and do it in a minute. Australians, here we go, trying to move to Thailand and keep their pension in Australia. It's complicated. I can't give you a one-size-fits-all answer. So once you're, I think, 67, you can apply for the pension in Australia. How are we going?
We're doing good.
And it may mean that you could get that pension in Australia if you're means tested and you're able to get it. Moving out of the country and getting it overseas is not automatic. It's complicated and it depends on an individual assessment. So go to the, I can't remember the name of the government office who gives out the pensions and welfare. Have a talk to them and you might get a better answer. I can't give you an answer, but I know it is complicated, especially for Australians trying to live overseas.
Ooh, 5 seconds remaining.
GN, was it? That's the best I can give you. I have decided I'm not going to get a single cent from the Australian government, even though I paid a lot of money into the tax purse over the years.
Do you have, there's a social security program kind of over there as well?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And you don't get that?
Americans would call them socialists. So we have, yes, a very developed welfare program, including pensions, but it is complicated for Australians to take it overseas. What was the... Do you have social security? Yes. Yeah. Was that the question?
That was the question.
I answered it, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on a Saturday morning. We'll have an announcement after the next person online. Great to have you with us, by the way. A beautiful Saturday morning in the southern island on the Andaman Sea. A little bit overcast, but there are blue skies, and I think the weather says that there might be some light showers early this evening. Also, if you're down in the southern part of Thailand, it's the Phuket Town Festival this weekend, which celebrates the Peranakan culture, the Chinese Thai culture, and it's very vibrant. There's a lot of red around, a lot of lanterns, a lot of food, and that whole Old Town area is just buzzing with sort of galleries and cafes, and this weekend it's going to be celebrating the annual Old Town Festival.
I like that. Apparently yesterday there was a giant party going on by Wat Chalong, the temple located after the Chalong Circle, and they have a large festivity thing set up over there.
Adventures, foreign and domestic, says in California, annual health insurance costs between 145,000 to 300,000 baht annually, equivalent. Thailand does provide great healthcare at reasonable cost. Yeah, well, obviously, that's nearly 3 times the costs that I was suggesting as an average for health insurance. Anything that involves Thai labour or labour costs generally is going to be lower in Thailand than, say, most Western countries. Anything that, if you want to buy an iPad, the iPad's going to cost you much the same here as it costs anywhere else.
I just saw it. Dan Elliott asks, do you know the average time for luggage to come out for international flights in the afternoon at Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok?
Well, look, it depends on the number of flights obviously arriving at that time. There's no average time. Sometimes you can walk off the plane, and if you're perhaps a few gates away, by the time you get to the arrival hall, the luggage might already be there.
If you're further away, though, it gives them more time to unload. So sometimes you do come out, and by the time you get there, after a 7-minute walk, the first bag is probably coming out. And Phuket, I've noticed it's pretty good, because most of the time you get down there and the bags are already out.
You can do a lot of walking at Suvarnabhumi Airport. It's huge. It used to be my weekly exercise, was flying to Suvarnabhumi and then walk. There's no average time. I think they've done a lot to try and fix up the earlier problems. They were clearly caught with their pants down when the plane started arriving and they just didn't have enough baggage staff. I noticed also that in Phuket, that Thai Airways was taking over the contract to run the baggage handling, but that's now, I think, gone back to a private contractor because Thai couldn't organise it very well. Hans Schellenberg. Hi, Hans. My wife got Herc 1 visa physical at Bumrungrad.
Oh, she got her K1 visa. She got a
Oh,
K1
okay.
visa. Yeah.
Okay, I neglected to notice that he needed a space between the R and the K. So a K1,
For the United States.
right? Okay,
At least I believe, because we have a J1 for working people who want to come for a temporary amount of time to work. That's a J1 visa. And if we have a K1, I believe, for
as we're doing some quick
as we do-
research.
pretend I'm not typing anything. Yeah, K1 for a fiance. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, look, I think it's about time we just made a little bit of an announcement, which we sort of put on the top of our thumbnail. Okay, during the week, we've done this week at the first week of the sort of version of TNT version 2, which included Nick joining us every day. Now, Nick was not only having to travel all the way from the south of the island, what about a half-hour trip up and back?
Google Maps says half an hour, but I paved my own roads.
So 5 minutes.
So
On your Honda,
CB650R.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, obviously it's quite a trip for Nick. And also, look, a lot of you simply didn't like the longer program. Now, we tried to pack the news into the first 20 minutes. So, essentially, that first 20 minutes would be much the same as it used to be. And I was very, very cognizant when I was doing it that I needed to rush through that news because people were sort of waiting to get to the comments, but at the same time, people wanted to just watch the news and didn't want to join in the conversation later. So taking all that in mind, we did a survey yesterday, and I think some 65% of you said they wanted the old version of the program. So I had a chat with Nick yesterday down at the Stoned Crab Pub in Rawai, and what we're going to do is we're going to revert to doing a daily sort of recorded program. It will be up by 9 each day, and that will be the original version of the program just with myself and the cats. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, we're going to be doing a live program together. And we'll sort of see what happens in the future because, as I've said, I always want to evolve the program and move into doing new things and providing better services to you. But at the end of the day, you're what matter. And if you, majority of you, didn't want us to do the new style of program, then we take that in mind. I've got to try and develop the program so at some stage I can actually make some sort of living off it. Well, that's what I'd like to do. And same with Nick, and we need to pay Nick as well. So it's in our best interest to make sure we get the most number of viewers. So from next Monday, we'll be back to doing a program around about 15 to 20 minutes of just news each day. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, it will be us two having a gas bag with you just like this, going through topics that interest you, going through some of the main news stories, which we'll do in a moment, and trying to address as many
Questions as possible.
many questions. Do you have one?
Yeah, speaking of which, Marcus the hippie in disguise, he says, "Is there a clothes shop for big and extra big people in Phuket?"
Plus size clothes are not as readily available.
Yeah.
The sizings are also all over the place.
And they also run, I find, smaller over here.
Well, if that'd be
This is from Old Navy, so I think it's a medium.
okay.
Yeah.
So a medium in, say, the United States or the UK
Is big on a Thai person.
it will be an XL here.
Yes.
So this shirt is XL. When I go and get underpants at Tesco, yes, Tesco, get over it. I'm in 2XL just to get but in Australia I'd be getting medium.
Yeah.
So it's all quite bizarre, the sizings. And that's why I always say to people, don't buy clothes online unless you buy one as a test, and then you can compare what that particular size is to the size you need.
Hmm.
I've bought clothes 2 or 3 times and they've never been right.
I can only ever buy pants and jeans in the States because here they may have my waist size, but I can't get my legs for the pants. They're for skinny Thai legs, but I have larger legs, so I always have to go to a foreign country to
They are
purchase.
Thai legs after all, but you just have larger Thai
I just have
legs.
larger Thai legs. My calves are huge.
When does China tourism restart? Says Brad Rothberg. Well, the Chinese are coming back already. Chinese New Year, which now is sort of over, the 10 days of celebration or so, it's actually was very, very big around Bangkok, parts of Pattaya, especially Phuket. There were a lot of Chinese here. I think there's now up to 7 or 8 flights a day from various parts of China. So Chinese tourism has certainly started, which restarted. Which brings me to this article, and I'll bring it up. We'll get to her in just a moment. But Bangkok Post reporting, I can bring this up on the, it's going to work? Hello. On the MacBook Pro. That's plugged into that. Is it going to work? There it is. Here we go. So the Bangkok Post reports that COVID-19 cases are declining despite, put in my passcode. Despite foreign arrival surge and the number of COVID-19 cases has gradually declined.
I'm going to interrupt you real quick. David Hansen just donated $10. Thank you, David. And Eric Felix also donated $10. Thank you, Eric, saying, whatever way you run the show is great. Thanks for trying to appease as many people as possible.
Appease is it. I mean, we're never going to make everybody happy, but look, there was a clear majority of people that wanted to go back to the old program. So Monday to Friday, you got the news in 15 to 20 minutes, just the news. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, a 7-week gig for me, we've got Nick and me. We might try and find a second co-host that you can talk to on the weekends.
And Durian also donated $7 Australian saying coffee.
Well, thank you both
Durian.
very much. That's kind, not required, but very gratefully received.
And Luke, they just keep pouring in. Luke, thank you so much for donating $50 Australian. He says, the show is great, Tim. Thanks for the heads up.
Luke, thank you very much, and thank you, everybody. It's appreciated. I do get a bit flustered when they do that. I'm not used to it.
Yeah, you're blushing.
So the number of COVID-19 cases has gradually declined despite the spike in foreign visitors entering the country. The second paragraph, according to the Tourism and Sports Ministry, 1.3 odd million people entered the country from January the 1st to the 21st. So you could extrapolate that as, so that's about 2/3 of the month. So it's going to be about 2 million for the month. The average when the last full year of tourism was 3.3 million people per month. But that number has partly been driven not only by Christmas and New Year, but also by a lot of people coming to celebrate the Lunar New Year in Thailand. Out of those, the story goes on, 914,000 were foreign nationals. Most visitors came from, get this, Russia, Malaysia, that should be South Korea, India, and Laos. Now, if you go back 10 years, Nick, those most popular countries would be a completely different list. So that's astonishing that the most populous numbers there, Russia, Malaysia, South Korea, India, and Laos as the top 5 countries coming into Thailand generally at the moment. And 8 foreigners were reported to have brought the disease into the country from the 8th to the 21st. Most cases came from China. There were 3 cases, while the others were from Myanmar, Cambodia, South Korea. What do they call it? Korea. Japan and Britain, 1 case each. The dominant subvariant for those people taking notes was the BA2.75. 86% of the people who had COVID-19 infections were anymore. Oh, there's more to that story. Visitors who test positive for the virus. Now this is interesting. Visitors who test positive for the virus through antigen tests are immediately quarantined at City Hall hospitals. That's not going to go down very well.
No.
So if you arrive and they do a random test and you are positive for COVID-19, they're going to drag you
spend your
kicking and
holiday
screaming.
locked up.
I might be a bit dramatic. You are immediately quarantined. I'm not sure if I'm in favour of that.
It sounds like an episode of Banged Up Abroad.
And the governor said that this is the Bangkok governor, said that the disease situation in Bangkok is not critical, a long way from it, as the capital has detected fewer than 100 COVID cases daily. They are still doing testing. They're doing random testing for some countries when you come to Thailand. I'm not particularly sure if I like that line about being immediately quarantined. I'd be kicking and screaming and calling my embassy.
Oh.
I'd be lying on the ground going, "Don't you touch me! Don't you know who I am?"
Comforting yourself. Earlier in the program, Frank asked, question, what do you think about the proposal from Thais, meaning the Thais party? Probably a poor translation, that non-Thai residents must learn to read and write Thai within 7 years of their residence. I'll answer this one real quick as well because I have my 2 cents to put in. I think Thai is one of the most difficult languages in the world to learn. I definitely think it's in the top 5. It's to the point where even myself as a 50% Thai person and a Thai citizen, that trying to learn how to read the language is like trying to translate Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's a nightmare. It's a mess. Speaking of it is all right, but reading and writing is no. Mandarin Chinese is a much better alternative, I'd say.
I think a lot of people are just better at languages than others.
Well,
I'm stupid. And I think also if you haven't learned a foreign language when you're fairly young, it is harder to learn a foreign language when you're older. I've tried 3 times to specifically go and learn Thai. One, learning like a word a day type thing. Another one and by the time I wake up the next day, I've forgotten it. Another one where I try and sort of learn some conversational phrases, like parrot fashion. And then another one where I went and learned all the grammar, the squiggles as I call it, the Thai alphabet, which is in itself bewildering. My suggestion is, rather than insisting that people learn Thai to a various standard in 5 to 7 years, I think the better idea would be the Thai government subsidise lessons for foreigners to encourage them to learn the language, so that they can say, if you go and to a registered language course, you'll get a 20, 30, 40% discount within a certain program if you're on this, that, or another visa. I think that way would be proactive for the Thai government to encourage foreigners to learn the language. I think if you insist on people having to learn the language, there'd be at least 2 people that wouldn't be able to stay here. I mean, you've got Thai residents.
Yeah, I can't stay here.
You're a citizen, but you can't speak Thai.
No, I can't.
Now, I can't speak Thai just because I'm stupid. So if they want to say you're stupid so you can't stay here, well, so be it. So yeah, I think the Thai government, if they want to get more foreigners speaking Thai, should take a proactive approach.
Recently, Dan Elliott has just donated 2,000 yen. Thank you, Dan.
Yen. Oh,
Japanese
Japan.
yen,
Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate this sort of generosity. Warren Williams, good afternoon from your old stamping ground of Melbourne in Australia. And also we've got Black Hibiscus. Hello, Tim. Greetings from Ratchaburi. And hope it's a great morning up there.
And Michael Rajpal, I hope I got it right, donated $5 Canadian. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very, very much. Go on.
He says, do you think Thailand is doing a good job keeping its spot as a top Southeast Asian destination, or do they risk losing out to their neighbors? I think they're doing an excellent job.
In what regard? Tourism?
In the regard of tourism, because
economy?
Even looking back at
tourism, okay,
different graphs over the years, Thailand has always popped up in the top 5 most visited tourist destinations in the world, and we've done that since the early 2000s.
Yes.
It's been popular for the better part of 20 years now. And I think
Bangkok keeps on sort of being number 1 most visited or most popular or most planned for holiday cities
in the world.
Yeah.
So I'd say that I think they've got the tourism part down right, and it is the laissez-faire lifestyle, and it is the craziness here that entices people to come here. So for
I
the time
think
being,
it's very easy to complain about a million little details here in Thailand, but the big picture things. We had this conversation yesterday.
we did.
The weather, the quality of the food, the lifestyle, the cost of living, access to good healthcare. I mean, all those things, got tick, 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 tick. Now, there are a lot of little annoying things which we report every day that once you live here for a while, you can avoid most of those things like scams and shams and online scams and stuff. So I think Thailand, in many ways, still ticks a lot of the big boxes. If you want Thailand to be like your country, if you want them to have a different type of governance, if you want the local councils to operate in a different way and pick up your rubbish more often, I mean, then Thailand's not going to be Thailand. The reason people come here is because it's Thailand. It's unique. It is one of 10 Southeast Asian countries, and they're all quite different from each other. In some cases, they don't even like each other. The Burmese don't like the Thais in some ways. And the Filipinos don't like anybody. The Indonesians don't like the Malaysians. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and there's fights between the various countries. But the thing is, Thailand is really unique. They've never been colonized by a Western power, even though there's obviously Western influence here. And they're very proud about that fact. But because they haven't had that Western influence for a number of years, like just about all the other Southeast Asian countries, the way that they think and they do things is quite different from other countries. It's not right, it's not wrong, it's just the way they do things. And the reason that we come here is because it's Thailand. And when people go, oh, I'm going to Cambodia, or oh, I'm going to the Philippines, or I'm going to Mexico, well, that's fine, off you go, but they're not Thailand. And so the reason we keep coming back here, the reason we live here, is because we do like Thailand when compared to all those other countries.
Mm-hmm. Frank Weston asks, Tim and Nick, I apologize for being so pedantic, but I am English and my wife is Thai, but she was forced to gain a Dutch language diploma before she could live in the Netherlands. I recently applied to university in the Netherlands, and to live there temporarily, I did not have to fill out a form stating that I could speak Dutch, but rather one that I could speak English. So if that's the one that you're referring to, there's possibly a IELTS test that you can do. They have an academic and non-academic test that you can do as a proof of being able to speak the English language. But I'm not sure if you're referring to Dutch specifically or a Dutch language diploma to show that she speaks Dutch.
So who's the person questioning?
This is Frank Weston.
So Frank, well, I'm not sure what he's being pedantic about. I mean, if you're saying Thai people, the Thai government should insist that all foreigners learn the language, well, okay. I don't think they should, but if you think they should, well, write to Prayut Chan-o-cha. I can't do anything about it. Just a comment here from Rashid KWT. Why Tim wearing a 5-star Marine shirt? The reason I'm wearing a 5-star Marine shirt is because they gave it to me and it's free. They are a sponsor. They're the sponsor of the program, 5-star Marine, if you're prompting me to remind you. And if you are in Phuket and you'd like to go out on a boat tour, then you can always check in with 5-star Marine. So that's why I'm proudly wearing their shirt. Oddly, if you think about going out into the bright sunshine of southern Thailand, wearing a black shirt's probably not the smartest thing to do.
That's why my helmet is white.
But yes, they are black shirts. And of course, black is a slimming colour. Also, so many people today. Dane, Durian says good morning. Eric, good afternoon. Good morning, guys, or evening from PHX AZ. Oh, Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't I clever being able to understand that? Now, Phoenix, Arizona, that would be a very dry part of the world.
Yes.
As in, there'd be very little humidity, almost opposite the sort of climate we get here in southern Thailand, where it is perpetually humid. And you do need a good shower by the end of the day because, you do spend quite a lot of time perspiring, especially if you're running around playing bar boy at the pub.
Yes. Darm1 asks, are we getting less baht for our money in line with the Chinese return?
Well, I don't understand the question.
I guess, yeah, because I don't have a specific currency to bounce this off of. But are we getting less baht for our money? I guess she's referring to pounds, euros, and dollars with the return of Chinese tourists in Thailand.
I don't think the return of Chinese to Thailand has had any effect on the baht at the moment. I think the baht has been strengthening recently against some of the most popular currencies, certainly against the US currency. It got up to 39, I think 39 baht to the US dollar. It's now around 35, I think. But I think a lot of the Thai baht has recently, in the last 2 or 3 months, strengthened against some of those currencies. So that's about all I know. But I don't think the return of the Chinese tourists has had any effect.
Frank Weston follows up to his earlier comments saying, "No, Nick." Now you're being pedantic. Just kidding. No, Nick, my wife is Thai and she had to take an integration course before she received her Dutch citizenship. This obviously does not apply to you, Tim. I don't know every in and out about the Dutch integration system, and you probably know better about it than I do because you're living there, I assume. But unfortunately, I can't help you with the immigration services that the Netherlands requires.
Yeah, look, if the Netherlands require that, I think the word integration is troublesome as well. I think in Australia they used to have a thing called the assimilation policy,
Mhm.
which related to foreigners and also to the indigenous people in Australia. Obviously, a policy that's no longer in existence, where now people are welcome to bring their customs and their languages to the land down under. In Thailand, you're not required to learn Thai. If they insist on that, I think it's going to be a problem for a lot of people. I don't know about you, because you know lots of foreigners, but probably most of the foreigners I know can't speak even conversational Thai. I can get by with ordering food. If they speak slowly, I can usually knit the sort of the context of what they're saying together. But conversational Thai, I'm a long, long way from that. I don't think I'll ever achieve it because I'm just not smart enough.
Mhm. I'm just going to blindly agree to all of this.
Han says, retire in Isan or Phuket. Well, I mean, two very, very different parts of the world. Isan, of course, up in the northeast of Thailand, it's going to probably be a bit cheaper depending on where you decide to stay. You're going to get a slightly different climate up there. You're going to get a bit of a cool season, which is now. Uh, Here in Phuket, it's pretty much hot all year round. There's no cool season. There's a dry season and a wet season. And the only decisions you have to make weather-wise are if you're taking an umbrella with you or not. That's really all you. It's just going to be humid all year round and hot all year round. Phuket can be very expensive or it can be as cheap as the rest of Thailand, depending on where you stay. Here on the east side of the island, you can stay in a big, large house like this, 4 5 bedroom house with 2 living areas, large chunk of land, and it's 20,000 baht a month. This same house on the west coast would probably be 50 or 60,000 baht a month. So the cost of food also varies a lot. So the food on this side of the island is much cheaper. In Isan, the prices would be much more regular across the board, probably a bit more expensive in the cities, but very difficult. If you like beaches, obviously come to Phuket because there aren't beaches in Isan. Very difficult question to answer, and I think the best thing if you're going to do to retire is come and spend a couple of weeks in every place that looks interesting to you, and then make a decision. Go and spend a week or two in Pattaya. You don't really need much time in Pattaya because it's sort of quite a small area, but yeah, to see what suits you. Speaking of that, can I just talk a bit about the Utapao airport while you're getting some more stories up? Oh dear, hang on. I'll just sign back in again.
Oh, everyone's gonna know you're. Oh, okay.
And I was going to have a talk about this story from the patianews.com. The Thai Prime Minister revs up development of the Utapao International Airport, which is the airport that serves Rayong and Chonburi provinces. And it says Utapao International Airport, second paragraph, is a joint venture between BBS Consortium and the government's economic EEC. It's the Eastern Economic Zone under a 50-year concession with a goal of handling 60 million passengers per year. That's a lot of passengers. According to the deputy spokesperson for the government, Utapao will be the country's third key commercial international airport that links together two other airports, Don Mueang and Suvarnabhumi, with a high-speed train. They're going to have the train going from Don Mueang, Suvarnabhumi, Utapao. It's like a big triangle. That's 10 years away.
Yeah.
They've been talking about it.
It's cool to hear these plans, but they're in the distant future.
And the spokesperson said the airport, which is currently undergoing the first phase of construction, will transform Thailand into a tourism, logistics and aviation hub, and the area around the airport into the Eastern Aviation Metropolis. So quite proud there about a bit more. General Prode's ambition to complete the project turns the heads of many investors. I think he's trying to curry favour there. This is where Utapao is. So down the bottom there, you've got that little red, there it is. So it's about 45-minute drive from Pattaya. It's on the border of the Rayong and Chonburi provinces. And if you're going to drive to Utapao Airport from Bangkok, probably take about 2.5 hours. So just a little bit about the development or the government's prospects to develop Utapao as an aviation hub. Currently, the three biggest international airports in Thailand would be Suvarnabhumi, of course, the old airport at Don Mueang, and Phuket International Airport in the south.
Peter B. asks, "Hi Tim, do you know if a Farang can own an automobile in Thailand if you don't have a retiree visa or resident visa? Many thanks."
If you don't have a residential certificate, I think you're going to have trouble owning a car. You wouldn't be able to buy a car on a tourist visa. You'd need at least a B visa, an O visa, that's a business visa or a retirement visa, or a marriage visa. Even an educational visa, I'm not sure if that's going to allow you to buy a car. I don't know. As far as borrowing money from the bank, yes, foreigners can borrow money from a bank to buy a car, but there are additional qualifications. You usually have to pay at least a 25 to 30% deposit. And but otherwise, if you've got work and a work permit, then you'll be allowed to borrow money from the bank. So there's another thing called the residence permit, not residence permit, it's like a certificate that you get from immigration that says that you are living at a particular location. That may get you past muster to buying a car with some dealers. But I suppose at the end of the day, they want to sell you a car. I can't answer that. It's going to depend, I think, on the dealer. But I think you're going to have to at least have one of those resident certificates.
Yeah, in the States, though, here, I would say that I don't really think they work for a commission because they're not willing to negotiate with you as far as lowering the price of a car goes. At least in the States, you can make a deal with the guy. But here, they're pretty firm on their prices, which is a really hard selling point. There's been a Yamaha R6 motorcycle that was sitting in a showroom for the better part of 3 years that was never sold. And because apparently things don't depreciate in value here, it was the same price for the entire time, even though it was getting older and older. And it also had large taxes on it because it was an import from Japan. And the guy could never break. He just wanted a ridiculous price for it. Whereas in the States, I could pay as little as $6,000 for it.
I think, okay, speaking about my experiences buying cars in Australia in the past, oh my God, how much money have I spent on cars? You couldn't reduce the price of the car, but they'd usually throw in things like a steering wheel cover and first year of insurance and a free service for the first 6 months or something like that. Here, they usually sell you the car, but it usually has a lot of add-ons like a 7-year warranty and for it's an electric car, they'll give you 8 years on the battery and free servicing for a year. So they usually come wrapped as a bundle. You get the car and all these additional services, a drive, a service where they come and pick you up if your car stops working and all that sort of stuff. But no, they'll never reduce the upfront cost of the car. I've never known that to happen in Thailand. Same with properties around here that are for rental that have got ridiculous prices, and they've been empty for 3 years since I've been here, and they'll never ever lower the price of the rental. They just won't deal or discount. And the more you ask, the more entrenched they'll become. It just will never happen. Hello to David Hansen, who says, good morning from Tampa in Florida. You know Florida, you used to live there?
I used to live there, yes.
Good morning from Bangkok, says Antoine. Noel Smith, good morning. We are still living life in Chiang Mai. Good morning to in Chiang Mai. Probably a little bit cool there today. Gets a little bit cooler in Chiang Mai this time of the year, right up north in Thailand.
I like that, though.
Used to be the capital of the Lana Kingdom back in the 12th to the 15th centuries. No longer the capital of the Lana Kingdom. Morning, guys, from Chachongsao, which I always pronounce wrong, says Grant Brown. At first glance...
Now that you've said that, please do not call me Florida man. It was a very short time, brief time there in Florida. Not Florida. I associate with the Northeastern Corridor more. So just say New England man.
Sorry,
Florida man.
You were wearing a shirt yesterday that was from
Tampa
the
Buccaneers. Yes, but
so where are the Buccaneers
moving
from?
past that?
So where are this shirt you're wearing? Said Buccaneers, and where do they play?
They play in Tampa.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
right.
okay,
So
okay.
right. So Tim was kitted up in an all-black rugby jersey. It would make sense the better half of his genetics in Kiwi. Grant, yes, I'm half Kiwi, half Australian. My mother was a Kiwi.
I didn't know you were half.
Yeah, can't you tell? Yes, she never announced her New Zealand citizenship, and I am eligible to get a New Zealand passport. Not really sure why I'd bother. I mean, I do love my Kiwi roots, and I used to spend a lot of my summers and winters there. Summers I'd go to Mount Maunganui, and winters I'd go and spend down at Lake Taupo, fishing in the Waia Merino and camping around there. A beautiful part of the world. If you ever get a chance to go to the South Island of New Zealand, one of the prettiest places in the world, literally everywhere you turn your camera is like a scene out of Lord of the Rings, where they filmed the Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. Very beautiful part of the world. Hello to everybody in New Zealand today.
Little Boots 24 asks, I think that's right. Yeah, Little Boots 24 asks, which UK universities are you interested in? I've applied to Lancaster University, University of Reading, Newcastle University, University of Birmingham, and University of Sussex.
And rejected by all of them.
No, I've been accepted by 4 out of 5 so far. We're doing pretty good. Yeah.
La-di-da.
I'm so good at writing motivational letters. And
do you get ChatGPT to write your letters?
No, I write them myself because I've got that expertise about it. I just wring emotion out of it and bring admissions teams to their knees. No, I say the UK because it's in Europe and it is cheaper than living in the United States.
Oh! Sorry, did you say the UK's in Europe? Them's fighting words these days. Okay.
They went geographically.
They went
in
through
Europe.
hell to pull out of.
Geographically, they're in Europe. One of my favorite jokes to say is Brexit. You can't move an island. It pisses them off. Sorry if you're English. It was just a joke. But the UK because
near Europe.
It's near Europe. Okay, the channel, the narrowest point is what, like 20 miles?
It's near Europe. Don't say
you can see France.
If you say Europe. The UK's in Europe,
you can see France. It's Europe.
6 letters.
Geographically,
BRE.
Geographically, it is in Europe. Maybe politically and in that sense, diplomatically, it's not a part of Europe. But geographically, I'm going to say it's part of Europe.
Here's a key ring. Mark Walker says, inflation must have hit Tim Newton today. Elephants are now suffering from shrinkflation. This is one of the elephants, which is made from one of my old flowery shirts, my old place of employment, the place I started. And you can see more of them behind Nick. They come in large, medium, small, and very small, which this is a key ring.
We'll show the contrast between large and very small.
That's large and that's small. And there's two sizes in between. And there's a extra large one, which is like stands about this high, and it's made out of 5 of my shirts. We're going to be auctioning them off. We've got 30 of them, plus 5 key rings and the extra large one, which you'll be able to bid for. And I'm going to get that up on the weekend, the page, and we'll have that as an open auction that people can email us their bid. And we're trying to raise 200,000 to 300,000 baht for Seeds of Change, a charity here in the island of Phuket on Koh Saray. And we hope to donate that money, every single cent of your donations, every single cent, every single baht will go to Seeds of Change, and you'll be paying your donations directly into their bank account, not mine. Not a very good idea, really, but I could have done well out of this. Every single baht gets donated to Tim Newton today.
Interesting comment from Grunt Max. He says, SCB, Siam Commercial Bank, put your house in your wife's name and we'll lend you as much money as you want. Also, when my wife buys property in Thailand, the not parts of matrimonial assets document must be signed.
What's the document called?
In his words, not parts of matrimonial assets document. So I guess if anything were to happen, she gets to keep the property and you get moved to the side.
Sweet F all.
Yeah.
Look, when it comes to property and being married or having a Thai girlfriend or boyfriend, I would just be very careful about thinking that you own the property. If it's in somebody else's name, you don't own the property. Foreigners can't own land in Thailand. There are a very small amount of exceptions, but generally, if you're going to put it under somebody else's name, just be aware that you don't own the property. And also be very, very, very nice to your partner.
I'm sorry I've messed up the chat. Now they're all saying, England's not in the European Union. I'm well aware. It's just saying geographically, it's there.
Personally, just looking from the outside, I think that the UK leaving the EU was probably the most stupid decision by a country made in this century.
Them's fighting words.
That's just my personal observation. I mean, I've got no stake in the matter, but just looking at the history, looking at what was happening at the time, I thought it was probably a bad decision. But a lot of UK people, of course, are now very proud that they're standing alone and that they're setting up their own trade negotiations. But I don't think, personally, it's going to end well. I also predict that in the next 10 years, they'll probably re-enter the EU as a happy and willing partner. But that's just another one of my predictions. I'm doing pretty well with my predictions lately.
Hold on, I'm going to ask them about...
They'll go crazy on that one.
I'm going to ask them about some different universities, and we'll see.
Why you're doing that? Reed said, and this is why the elite visa is so attractive. If you can pay the front cost, and here you need 800,000 baht plus at least 1,000 a month income to retire in Thailand, $1,000 a month on a regular type of visa. Yeah, look, the elite visa obviously is a package that's available for some people. They are just flying out the door at the moment. They're very popular with some countries that are unable to get their visas any other way. Adventures, Foreign and Domestic says, your desk elephants shrunk. Not this one, this is a large one. I think I'm a bit way back in the conversation. You're sort of up front with the conversation.
They're talking about Brady with the Buccaneers and how the UK is part of Europe and the majority of people, according to polls, want to rejoin the EU.
I think it's, it's a very contentious issue. My feeling about Brexit, it was gamed by a company called Cambridge Analytica, who were able to twist the final vote of Brexit through Facebook. I mean, there's documentaries about it. It's well documented. But the people of the UK were gamed by social media in what ended up as a very, very close vote. But now I think most of the people being asked in the UK whether they would like to return to a situation they had before Brexit. I think the majority of people are saying they would rather be a part of the EU again. But that is for the people of the UK to work out. I'm just giving my opinion looking from the outside.
I must say that one of the biggest tragedies to come to the UK, and a lot of my friends agree with this, is that the Tesco meal deal recently shot up 90p. The Tesco meal deal. It's like a staple of the economy.
Oh, okay, I'm not aware of that.
You can get like a sandwich or a main course, chips or crisps, as you call them, a snack, and a drink for £3. But now it's
Chips, fries.
No,
You call them
crisps.
fries.
Well, in this case, I'm saying it's a meal, sandwich, or something like that, crisps and a drink.
Chips in a
Chips in a
packet.
bag, yes,
Right.
chips in a bag. But I'm saying crisp to clarify, and so that way I don't start a war. And a drink for £3, but now it's gone up to £3.90, which was insane.
It'll be a revolution. Antoine says, Tim's the Russians in Thailand who escaped the draft. Did I already read that? Okay, I've already addressed that. I need to move on in the conversation. I'm still about halfway through the show.
And most recently, Hans said, interestingly enough, he used ChatGPT to write a piece of Python code, and it did surprisingly well for its first time.
Okay, Scott D says, everyone deserves at least one full day off per week. Tim, to recharge, take a Sunday off at least every other week to rest. Look, I love doing the program. I love trying to speak to you. I love going through the news, trying to fine-tune a lot of the news that gets reported and eke out the actual real meaning, and using my experience to pass that on to you. Scott, I'm healthy. I do other things during the day. I'm very happy to sit here with Nick and spend time with you on Saturdays and Sundays. Just reminding people that from next week, we'll go back to be doing the daily show, a 15 to 20-minute news show, just me. And then on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Nick and I will spend time with you, going through any of your questions, your controversy. Happy for you to disagree with us on anything. At some stage, we'll still keep on pursuing the talk back, so you'll be able to actually call us and say nice things to us.
We started a bit of an
Hopefully.
argument about Brexit.
Of course I did.
Anyway,
Hi, Dusty. Dusty's sitting out there looking at us. They haven't been fed yet.
let's keep it positive. Love my elite visa, says Hans. And someone had a question. David Stevenson from San Francisco. He asks, what is the average amount one would be extorted to pay the taxi mafia in Phuket from the airport to the main part of the city? And
The city? You're talking about Phuket City or Patong?
I guess, what would you say constitutes as the main part of the city? I'd say,
Well, it's
if you're-
Phuket. It used to be called Phuket City, but it's not a city. It's Phuket Town.
yeah.
Well, if you're talking about the word city, I'm thinking that there's... okay, well, we'll address both of them. How much does it cost to get from Phuket Airport to Patong and Phuket Town? I think it's the same cost. It's about 800 baht
I don't take the taxi.
in a taxi.
I
No,
can't
you
do
get
that.
picked up by mum or dad.
No, we just park the car. And there's a parking lot a little bit before the airport on the left. He does 100 baht a day, I believe,
Ooh, which is half the price
which is
of...
half the price of the airport. So if you're looking for a place to park, it's about, I'd say, 50 meters before you turn into the domestic terminal. It's on the left.
And what's it called? Give them a plug.
The plug, I don't know. It's just a parking lot on the left. You've got to look for a yellow and black sign, just like a bumblebee, on the left side of the road as you make your way towards the airport, and they park your car.
Reed asked the question, Tim, are you going to try and make a living through OnlyFans? No, is the answer to that. I think I can unequivocally say a 100% no on that one. Nobody wants to watch that. Wow, Luke, thanks. You and good job, says Jurian. Again, the people having a conversation. Is that another super
so
chat?
the
Oh my
Snives
God.
just donated $20. Thank you, the Snives.
Snives,
We
thank you
demand.
so much.
I did not get to see Brady in New England. It was depressing. I wish I had, though. He says, we demand Dina the Diva merchandise.
Okay, I am surprised, given the fact that I haven't fed the cats this morning, that they're not jumping on the table. I would have thought that we would have seen Dina by
Openly
now.
admitting to animal cruelty, but okay.
Well, it's hardly animal cruelty. They get well fed. Don Jordan, what was it on the news? A woman beating a woman wrapped in a towel. We haven't seen that particular piece of news. We're unaware of what happened, but I hope they're all both safe. Oz Kiwi, Nick, not experienced to get your shirt, not expensive to get your shirts and pants made. Tim, my underpants are XL because the girls say I'm a big boy. Good luck to you. So in relation to plus size, I don't think we sort of finished. There are fewer plus size places around Thailand. There's no doubt about that.
I can do a plug for American Express. I believe there's a discount going on for Levi's, and if you are in the States or something like that, you can get a little bit of a discount for the American Express Platinum card with a purchase from Levi's. So if you're looking for pants,
yeah, everybody out there's got
I'm just saying for those.
Platinum
I'm
card.
just saying for those in the audience who have that card, you can use.
Well,
that.
I'm sure it's everybody.
Maybe it's changed. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. But recently, I used that to purchase.
Snipes, thank you very much. But I can also say that there are a lot of very good tailors here in Thailand, and you can get clothes.
I got my suit made here for my graduation ceremony for school, and it was very great. You know, nice peak lapels, and it had
Yeah, I mean,
great.
you can get a suit made for 2,000, 3,000 baht.
A little bit more.
Okay, well, yeah, I think you can get it made at that price, and more expensive, of course. But you can get really nice, tailor-made, excellent quality clothes made around Thailand. So if you are plus size, it's not going to cost you much more to get clothes actually made for you. For example, if you go to a tailor and say, look, I want 5 shirts, and then they'll last you for the next year or so. And when they make all the 5 at once, they'll be a bit cheaper. Then they keep your sizes, so you can just call them up and say, oh, can you make me a new white shirt? And you'll have it in 2 or 3 days. So I think that's probably one of the best solutions for plus size, or ordering online will solve the problem as well.
David says, I don't think Tim could even make his OnlyFans a free version.
How rude. Who said that?
David Stevenson.
Okay. Just delete him. He's banned forever.
All right.
No, don't. Thanks, David. Ben Hayes says, Tim Newton today is too tiring. Working 7 days a week, the new show schedule. Oh, look at Ben. I'll be fine.
Yeah, they suggest that you take a break at least every other week on Sundays.
Let you do it by yourself.
On Sunday, I could be the Sunday guy.
We could have you and the cats. I wouldn't trust you. The cats would maul you to death.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I think Dusty's really
no,
taking
she's
a liking to me.
Yeah.
Or is that how she does it? She lures.
Just getting you warmed up.
Yeah,
Don't you worry about that. Yeah, I've never had cats before I came to Thailand. And
Were you a dog person?
I was always a dog
Did
person.
you convert?
It's not that I converted. It's just that I've learned to really appreciate cats. Yes, I still love dogs. And I've had 5 fantastic dogs in my life.
Wow.
The most recent one, Molly, I'll get you some pictures of Molly. Just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. This is an audition of Nick doing his own show.
All right, guys. Today we're covering top 10 things to do in Thailand, like every other YouTuber. Number 10. No, I'm not going to do that. I had a dog as well. I had a American Eskimo, just a white, medium-sized fluff ball, if you will.
You had an American Eskimo slave.
No, American Eskimo dog.
Oh, okay.
It's just a white, puffy fluff ball, and he was great. Yeah.
Very inappropriate in Thailand.
Yeah. Well, he
Wouldn't
wasn't
be
in
very-
Thailand. He wasn't in Thailand. He was in the States. So he did have snow, and he preferred sleeping outside most nights.
Do you know the most popular dog in Thailand? Huskies.
Yeah, they're beautiful, but I can't help but feel bad whenever I see one on the beach. It's
Well,
dying.
it's better off in the water because their coats are just meant to keep them warm.
Yeah.
And so if you're in Thailand, don't get a husky. There's Molly. She was
wow.
Border Collie Kelpie Cross, and she went everywhere with me. Everywhere. In fact, she was booked to come to Thailand on the plane. A ticket cost about 3 times my ticket. But she died about a week before we left, which was all a bit of a shame. So I have been a dog person, but I admire cats. I see them outside stalking, and They are beautifully evolved serial killing machines. They are just amazingly efficient killing
Did you know
machines.
that the most lethal wildcat in the world is literally the size of a house cat? I can't remember the name of it, but it's just this thing that looks like a kitten and doesn't look like it could hurt a fly. But because of its success rate in its hunts, it makes it the most lethal. And it's like a small cat that hangs out in the jungle somewhere. You'd have to look it up, but it looks like any other house cat.
Can we just briefly? We've been going on for an hour and 14 minutes.
Oh,
Blah, 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 blah. I just wanted to very briefly mention here this story. And it's the Bangkok Post again. CCTV contradicts Taiwan actress extortion claims. Footage from 3 security cameras in the area where a Taiwanese actress claimed Thai police extorted 27,000 baht from her contradicts her account of the incident, according to the Royal Thai Police. The footage was from a camera installed outside the Chinese embassy. This gets more bizarre by the moment. On Ratchadapisek Road, that's in Bangkok. And the 2 other cameras were on a pedestrian bridge which captured the corner of the alley where the actress claimed she paid money to the police. The actress was seen together with 3 men approaching in a red Mazda 2 grab taxi, which was stopped by a police at a security checkpoint. I suppose the bottom line on this, Nick, is that these are claims made by the police. She, of course, had a different story, and the police forced her to delete video of the incident on her phone. So there's nothing really to compare it to.
well then let's rattle off some more questions, a little bit more related to Thailand. Here we have any new scams. And yes, we were just discussing this the other day about how we could make more money for the channel. And I will be fronting myself and soliciting on Patong Beach, wearing a tube top and a very tight skirt. Another popular scam, a new one, is one on Tinder where they match with you and they try to get you off the app to discuss stuff and, send pictures of each other and then, expose yourself and say, if you don't give me money, then I'll send this to everyone you know, and yada, yada, yada. That's one of the new ones that I've seen.
So they get you onto Line or Facebook.
So from Tinder,
chat,
they take you to a personal chat.
and they get more intimate and start sending photos, and you send photos, and then they try and extort money out of you.
Tinder does not allow you to send photos to each other, so that is why they do that.
Isn't that sort of a bit counterintuitive? Isn't that what Tinder's all about?
You're trying to
Tinder about hooking up.
It has a hookup culture, yes. And I was just about to ask another one. Someone, Nong Wusao asked, Nick, as a young man, where do I invest my money? And you'll be surprised to know that I have a whopping $6 invested in Bitcoin. And if we take a look at it right now, I'm pretty sure I'm in the hole.
You invested $6.
That is the minimum amount you can invest. And so I put in $6.
When did you put the money in?
November 2 years ago?
It was November 2021 when it just crashed and has continued to do so. I think it's had a pretty good last couple of weeks.
Over the course of my investment, when I
showed the
when I invested it here, I'll just show, because I mean it's
tilt it down a bit.
I had initially invested $6.90 into it, and now I'm at a whopping $2.31. It's only ever gotten down. So yeah, I did that just so I could say I invested in Bitcoin.
So the enthusiast would say, just hang in there, it'll come back.
It'll come back.
Yeah, good luck. I personally think that Bitcoin's going to go to zero, but I'm not an investor, but I'm fairly well read on the issue, and let's just see.
Hans says, I would pay good money to see you guys wearing a Borat mankini on Bangla Road.
Who? Hans?
Hans.
I've got some really bad news for you. It ain't going to happen. Where would you even buy a mankini? Can you buy them online? You can.
Lazada
mankinis. No, I don't think anybody wants to see that. Oh, look, we've got 112 thumbs up. We've got 2 thumbs down. Who are those 2 people? Bring them to this office right now. I want to speak to them.
Thank you, Class of 58. I saw your comments earlier regarding the universities, and thank you. I have been a little bit unsure about what university to choose, and your input is greatly appreciated because no matter who I ask, I get different answers, and it's nice to have you review them.
So Jason Edwards has a question. What's the latest on the 45-day visa waiver? Tim was saying the scheme has been extended until the end of the year. No, I said there is a proposal to extend the current extension of the 30-day visa waiver to 45 days. That is set to conclude on March the 31st. We reported a proposal to extend it to the end of the year, but that proposal has not been discussed or approved yet. So at the moment, the extension of the visa waiver from 30 to 45 days continues only up until March the 31st, until it's approved to go any longer. And for people on visa on arrival, they get an increase of 15 to 30 days currently. So that's what I can report on that, Jason. It has not been approved yet. Watch this space. As soon as it does, we'll be the first to report it.
Ian asks, which Thai bank is best for farangs? Farang.
Again, there's no one bank fits everybody. You need to shop around.
A common one used is Bangkok, though. Bangkok Bank.
Bangkok Bank. I know a lot of companies prefer to use Bangkok Bank for like wages and things like that. A lot of Thais like using the one that starts with a SCB and Casacorn.
Yes.
We here mostly in Thailand.
We refer to them as the colors.
The blue bank, pink bank, yellow bank,
purple bank.
Purple bank, yeah. I'm in the blue bank and the yellow bank. So but shop around, and they're all got much the same policies. None of them are better or worse, I don't think, for foreigners. As far as exchanging money, I wouldn't be doing it through a bank anyway. I'd be shopping around or using one of the overseas, I think you've got Wise, Western Union. There's all sorts of different companies that you can transfer currency. Wouldn't be using a Thai bank to swap your currency. I don't think you get very good deals at all.
GL asks, the 300 baht entry fee, is that payable at the airport? Cash credit when it comes into effect, that is.
At the moment, they're proposing that it would be included. Is that Dusty?
Yeah, is that Dusty? That's Dusty.
She's got the short hair. She'd be the one nuzzling. Yeah, it's the black cat. The black cat has arrived. The 300 baht tourism fee has not been approved, but they're proposing that it's going to start on June the 1st, right in the middle of the low season. Great. But I believe that they're going to include it on the airfare at the moment. So it hasn't been... do you want to come and say hello, Dusty? They would probably want to see you. You're going to come and... She won't say hello. She's difficult to pick up because she's quite heavy. She's quite a buxom lady.
Yes, and this knives your comment.
Years.
Tesla is good to buy right now, especially in Thailand. Things are ramping up in the electric vehicle industry. Lots of more pop-ups showing up, and Tesla's becoming more and more affordable and accessible to Thai people. So if you're in the market for an electric vehicle and you're looking specifically at Teslas, there is more popularity. And I recently saw charging ports at my local gas station, which I didn't know they installed.
There you go. It's becoming a bit of a thing in Thailand.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a real rise in popularity of electric cars here, both in use and manufacture.
And I'd say for Phuket as well, with it being an island, it is ideal for an electric car because there isn't really far to go. Of course, if you're going to live in a different place, it's all down to your location and how often you will be driving that will determine that.
But most of them have got 200, 300, 400 kilometre distance. I mean, it's enough for most people's use for 3, 4, 5 days. Just Paul Matthews says, after this crypto bull run, I'm moving to Koh Samui. Good luck with your bull run. Enjoy it while it lasts. Corey Jackson says $32.77 to $1. Is that US? I assume that would be US. So yeah, the baht against the US dollar has increased a lot over the last 3 months, from 39 down to 32.77. Thank you, Corey, for checking out. By the way, we're quite random the way we go through these comments. We don't select anybody in particular. We just they pop up and they scroll past, and we just grab them while we can. We simply can't answer them all.
I've also triggered a little micro war in the comments
about Brexit.
About electric cars. While I do myself prefer combustion engines because I like the noise. I drive a loud motorcycle because of that. I'd say for the specific location of Phuket, it is it's easier to own an electric vehicle, and there is more accessibility for that. Of course, if you're living in the middle of Nebraska, I wouldn't recommend getting a Tesla. But for the sake of how much traffic there is here, I wouldn't see too much harm in it for a small island where we live.
Also, for example, the BYD Atto 3, which I'm meant to be getting at some stage whenever they deliver it, they've got new battery technology, which is quite an advance on some of the older battery technology, which, there was a lot of media with negative reports about that technology, a lot of it over-exaggerated, but a lot of the new battery technology, particularly by BYD, has advanced that situation quite a lot, both in terms of efficiency, in terms of its environmental impact, and in terms of longevity and cost. I think it's called Blade technology. But electric cars are obviously going to advance quite a lot in the next few years. And if the reason you bought your bike was because you like the noise, you
No,
need to have a serious look at
it's
yourself.
not because of the noise.
You said
I
I bought it because of the noise.
No, I said I prefer. I
rewind the
myself
program.
prefer combustion engines, right? And I drive a loud motorcycle because of it. That's what I said. You're shoving words in my mouth. You're twisting them all up.
I'm allowed to. That's my job. So we will get some video of Nick and his bike just to test the noise level one day. Mine's called a Zoomer. So because it's called Zoomer, it's much faster than your bike. Damon says Bangkok's main airports are not ideal land. Makes sense. Are not ideal land. I don't understand what that means. Bangkok's main airports are not? No, I can't make sense of that. Tim just bought a new Nissan Navara on a tourist visa, says Gary. Well, there you go. What other paperwork did they require you to give? I am a little bit surprised that you were allowed to buy a car on a tourist visa unless you had that resident certificate. I think that's a minimum requirement. If you didn't have that, then I'm additionally surprised. We've been going on far too long. Russell Gunther, hello Russell, we often comments on the program, says Isan is very cold now, 13 degrees. You need warm clothes. Hot season is very hot and dry. If you live near the ocean like Phuket, the weather is much less extreme. Yeah, I mean, the weather here is very highly regulated by the fact it's an island surrounded by water. It doesn't have extremes in weather.
Sorry, just the electric car conversation is... Anyway, another question, if we're trying to focus on Thailand. Mango Sticky Rice asks, what is your favorite beach to visit on Phuket? I'd say Nai Harn. That's my favorite beach.
What was it with that?
Mango Sticky Rice asks, what is your favorite beach to visit on Phuket?
Nai Harn Beach.
There we go.
Or I do like creeping up to Mai Khao, up at the north of the island, because you'll be able to find a stretch of beach where you won't see another person all day. And very, very pleasant up there. Not as nice a swimming beach as Nai Harn, but if you just want a straight, long stretch of beach, Mai Khao Beach, or even if you just cross over the bridge and go to Natai Beach, which is really an extension of Mai Khao Beach, really nice, just long stretches of beach if that's what you want to have around you. But Nai Harn, I think, is the most easy to get to. Plenty of services, lots of little restaurants there behind the beach. And it's got a lot of personality and currently quite busy.
And John, the accountant, I believe you were the one from earlier who made a comment about the BMW motorcycle that I liked. He says, what motorbike does he have? I have a Honda CB650R, the Neo Retro motorcycle. And Tim has the Zoomer X from Honda, right? Is your Zoomer a Honda?
Of course.
Yeah.
I would say that most of the motorbikes out there on the road are Hondas. Am I right? Honda Waves, half the bikes in Thailand would be Honda Waves. Then the iClick, that's extremely popular. My iClick, it's nearly 20 years old. It's like a sports car. It's very, very fast. Not quite as fast as yours.
All 125 cubic centimeters of it. Or is it 150?
It's not the size, it's how you use it, Nick.
Okay.
By the way, says Frank Weston, I was the guy who wore that crazy orange hair and face mask that drew you nuts on the other show you used to host. We love you, man. I cannot remember the man in orange with the crazy face mask. Sorry, Frank. But then again, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning, so I've got a pretty bad memory. We won't have anything to talk about if we keep going. 2 more comments from you, 1 more from me. Stop getting into the conversation with your private thoughts.
I have to. Okay. Gotta get my fix, man. Insult Investor asks, is my 10-year Cambodian license, I assume driver's license, good in Thailand?
Cambodia?
Cambodia.
If you're Cambodian, then I think you can come to Thailand and drive on your Cambodian license if you get an international driver's permit with it. But if you're a foreigner and you've got a well, again, yeah, if you've got a Cambodian license and you come to Thailand, if you've got an international driver's permit along with it, then you can legally drive in Thailand.
And another question I have from Adventures Foreign and Domestic. Sorry, you've asked this like twice. My bad. Tim, how did you meet your new co-host?
His father contacted me and said, my son would be a great co-host. I'll give you 100,000 baht. No, he didn't say that. So he introduced me to his son, Nick, and Nick turned up and did a bit of an audition on the Saturday morning show. And then, we thought we'd ramp it up a bit. But we're sort of taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back from next Monday, going back to doing the 15 to 20 minute news solo. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, we do the live program, trying to answer as many comments as we can, answer as many questions as we can, including this one from Dam1. Nick, did you ever watch The GOAT live in NE?
Yeah, the GOAT, I'm assuming Tom Brady in New England. No, I never got to watch that. Tom Brady moved from the Patriots to the Bucks.
Great.
And as a result, won the Super Bowl.
Okay, you and Dom can have a little personal
Anyway,
conversation.
and someone also asked Bengals or Chiefs, and I'm going to say Chiefs. And I'm going to start another micro war in the comments.
Russell Gunther, New Zealand was covered by the Maoris, then the English. Colonised by the Maoris, then the English. Thank you very much, Russell. I'm not sure why that comment came through. Paul Hazakam says it's not that, I've really got to find a way of making this a little bit bigger. It's not all that complicated to get your Aussie pension whilst overseas. Either have it paid to your bank in Australia in Aussie, or have, I just can't make out what he's trying to say there. He's trying to suggest, though, that it's not quite as complicated as I make out. I believe it is quite complicated. I won't be able to get the Australian pension. And so I'm just making sure that I get this program to work as well as it possibly can so that I'll be able to pay my own way and live the rest of my life here in Thailand, because I love living here. I'll always be Australian, of course, but hopefully I can stay here for my remaining days. And may that continue for a lot more years. And what are you doing? You're not, I suppose you should be talking to them. What are you saying?
BMW argument. Tell Nick not to waste his time going to university in the UK unless maybe engineering or sciences or IT, but you can learn more on YouTube and now ChatGPT. Yes.
That's pretty much true.
Yeah, you put that on the other video as well. I saw that. If I'm a real entrepreneur, why am I going to university and all that? It's just...
Are you an entrepreneur?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've sold stuff since I've been soliciting products since I was very young.
You solicit products every night as a bartender.
I've been using my brother's soccer games a long time ago to sell bacon egg cheeses to all the parents. I've sold valve stem covers for motorcycles and bars. I've sold sunglasses in bars. I've sold water even after a festival to people trying to go back home because nothing was open anymore. So that worked. You know, there's always a way to remove money from people's pockets.
And you've invested $6
$6
in
because
Bitcoin,
of that into Bitcoin,
which is now valued at $2. Fabulous. Okay, I don't know how I don't know UK universities. My oldest. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us today. The show's gone on far too long, but it is your program. Saturdays and Sundays will remain literally your program, and as I said, we will continue. The lead hasn't arrived yet, but we're looking forward to. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I just turned that off. We are going to introduce a talkback so that you will not only be able to chat to us, you'll be able to chat
And
to
you
us.
won't hear me typing away furiously. Instead, we can talk to you in real time and 7-second delay for the people watching, and it will be like a Howard Stern radio show.
Without Howard Stern.
Without Howard Stern.
And
Robin is an Asian man.
The lead hasn't arrived yet, but we're waiting for the lead so we can test it. But that's coming up. So doing this program Saturdays and Sundays. So we will be back tomorrow doing another program. We will each day obviously try and, apart from addressing your comments, we'll also bring in any breaking news, any important news stories. And I had a few others there, but I think we've gone through all the main ones. The main one being that Taiwanese actress, the police saying, no, there was no extortion. But then again, what do you expect the police to say? She had her video erased by the police or forced to erase it. So we really don't have the other side of the story except for what she said. Do you believe the Taiwanese actress or the Thai police? And with that, I thank you all very much for watching today. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you to the elephants. Is Dusty still here?
No, Dusty's over there.
Dusty's over there, patiently waiting for her food.
And earlier, someone mentioned, how do they donate? We'll just throw this in at the end.
So hopefully, either today or tomorrow, we've got 30 of these things. So I'm posting a picture of each one of them. Each one of them has got a name and also a starting bid. And then there'll be an email that you can say, I want to bid 1,000 baht, 10,000 baht to number 36 or whatever it is. And then we'll compile all those emails, find out what the bids are, publish those bids. Probably then we'll do a live program saying, if you want to bid more than these people, go ahead. And we'll get all the elephants together, all 30 of them. And not sure where we're going to put them, but yeah, we'll work it out. But it'll start as a sort of a passive email bid. All the money going to Seeds of Change, a great little charity in Phuket that we'll try and get down there with the camera. Might be a story you'd like to do sometime during the week. Thank you all very much. To those people who donated, I'm very, very grateful for your generous support. And to everybody else, great to have you with us, joining us and having a chat. And we'll see you tomorrow. You got enough shirts?
I hope so.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.